Hello grade 9s and welcome to our lesson 5 of factorization. We are going to be doing factorization or factorizing of trinomials. Please make sure you're revising. Don't forget all the ones I've taught you, the concepts I've taught you, because after this we're going to be doing a combination exercise with everything, and then you have to figure out which one we're going to use. So we're going to start off now with factorization of trinomials. Let's go and have a look at our examples. With that said, this is also a very difficult one to teach, a concept to get, so a lot of practice will be needed here. Alright, so let's look at our trinomial here. We've got a trinomial, we have to factorize it. The first thing I can teach you straight away is that when you factorize a trinomial, we're going to be left with two brackets, or two binomials multiplied to each other. And you should know that from your products that we did in term 1. Products, when we multiplied our two binomials, we came with the answer of a trinomial. Now we're working backwards, eh? So when I factorize this trinomial, the first thing I need to do, you see I've highlighted the 8. I need to identify all the factors of 8 that can get me if I add them to my middle term. So let's look at the factors of 8. The factors of 8 here are 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. So it's 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. Now, which of those factors, if I add them together, will get me to 6? And you should know you should see it's 2 and 4. So, now, let's go back to the question. I must also remember that there's a silent 1 over here, okay? Because in grade 10, you're going to find that there's going to be a larger coefficient of here, like a coefficient of 5 or 6, and you have to do the factors of this number as well. But in grade 9, they don't go in such detail. They normally just give you a question where the coefficient of x squared is 1. All right, so let's go. So I know for sure, and you should all pick up as we do this, that the first one, to get my first term, is just x times x, which will give me x squared. But to get my last term, I had to look at my factors. Alright, and my factors that got me to 8, I'm going to choose 2 and 4. So I'm going to go put 2 and 4 here. And then I'm going to see, because they're both positive, it's the easiest one to do. Let's see if this works out. I'll work x times x gives me x squared. To get my middle term, look here, 2x and 4x. Remember when I did FOIL, first outer inner last, or I multiplied the brackets out? I'll get 2x and 4x. And what is 2x plus 4x? It's 6x. And then over here, let's look at the last one. 2 times 4 gives me 8. Alright, so the way we did this was we'll get the factors of 8, and what factors of 8, if I add them together, will give me my middle term of 6. Let's do the next one. So again, we asked the same thing. It's the exact same thing. So let's go even a step further for those of you who are freaking out. I know that it's going to be x and x, because x squared, right? That's sorted. But what are my factors of 6? My factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. My middle term is 5. So which of these factors will get me to 5? Now, my forward-thinking kids might say, sir, 1 and 6, because you can also subtract. Because 6 minus 1 will give me 5. Right, but because the question is both positive and positive, I know that I'm going to just be adding my terms together. So when you got a positive and a positive in your trinomial, a plus and a plus for both of them, you know you're going to be adding. So 2 and 3. If I add 2 and 3 together, will it give me 5? Yes, it will. So let's go and put here 2 and 3, and let's add it. So let's check. X times x, x squared. Let's do my middle term, because I'm multiplying out just to check myself. X times x, x squared. What's 2 times x? It's 2x. And what's 3 times x? 3x. What's 2x and 3x? 5x. And what's 2 times 3? 6. Right, so that's the easier of the lot, where they're both positives. Let's look at the next one. I have a negative here. So things get a little bit more tricky. So if you do the same thing again, factors of 20, the 2 or the pair that can get me to, now negative 9. Alright, so let's look at the factors of 20. The factor of 20, 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 9. Out of these 10 and 20, out of these factors, which pair will get me to negative 9? Alright, so we're going to look over here. I've got 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. So which pair would get me? You have to do the pairs, eh? So it's the 1 and the 10, the 20, the 2 and the 10, and the 4 and the 5. So which two will get me to negative 9? It'll be 5 and 4. And how? What's negative 4 minus 5? Negative 4 minus 5. Can you see now I'm not adding them together now because it's a negative. I need to get to a negative. Okay, so again I've got here 2 brackets. Again it's an x and an x because it's x squared. And which two? We said 4 and 5. And how am I going to get to negative 9? It has to be negative 4 and minus 5, because what's negative 4 minus 5 will give me negative 9. And then check this out. When I multiply these two together, does it give me positive 20? Yes, because what's negative 4 times negative 5? It's positive 20. Okay, so to check yourself, once you got this answer, you need to check if it's right. What's x times x? X squared. What's that times that? It's negative 4x. And what's that times that? Negative 5x. What's negative 4x minus 5x? Gives you negative 9x. And then the last term I times that by that. And what's negative 4 times negative 5? Positive 20. Alright. Let's look at the next one. Now, I've got a negative and a negative. Okay, so but do the same things again. What must we do again? Factors of 60, and which factors get me to negative 7? Here are all my factors of 60. Which one gets me to 60? Now, I haven't done this one now, so let's just check it out. I'll work with you on this one. Alright, so let's check out the factors that will get me to negative 7. So it can't be 1 and 60. It can't be 2 and 30. It can't be 3 and 20. 4 and 15. No, because 15 minus 4 gives me 11. So it can't get there. Let's check here 12 and 5. What's 12 minus 5? Or negative 12 plus 5. Yeah, it's these two over here. This takes practice, ladies and gentlemen. It takes time. You have to work these things out. Even Mr. Rebellini, sometimes my multiplication lets me down here. So let's look here. X and X. Let's check if I'm right. I might be wrong. 5 and 12. Okay, let's check now my signs if they work out now. So I need it to be, let's go back here and let's look at the factors. I need this to be a negative 12 and then a plus 5, because it'll give me negative 7. Okay, so negative 12 plus 5. Let's check if it works out. X times x gives me x squared. What is that times that? Gives me 5x. And you guys know this from products. Remember products we did in term 1. So for people who haven't done products yet, you're going to know what's going on. So when I multiply these brackets out, that times that gives me x squared. That times that's 5x. And that times that's negative 12x. And if you say 5 minus 12, it'll give you negative 7. Alright, and then that positive 5 times negative 12 will give me negative 60. Some of you can learn it off by heart, the signs, if you want to, but it's not really. What I mean by off by heart is, like when you have a negative, look at the top. Whenever you have a negative first, you know it's going to be negative and negative. And if you got a negative and a negative, you're going to know your bracket's going to be plus and a minus. But I mean, that's very dangerous to learn it that way. But that's for the people that just want to learn off by heart to try and get it. Let's look at the last one. Or second to last one. Next one. So again, factors of 30, that'll get me to 13. Okay, look at the factors of 30. So which factors give me 30? Now, it's an interesting one, yeah, because you'll think it's 2. And I'm going to do the first one wrong on purpose. I'll do it below here. So you guys are going to say, okay, sir, so I'm going to take, you're just going to rush it and you're going to say, I'm going to take 3 and 10. Because 3 times 10 will get me 30. And 3 and 10 will give me 13. Okay, but let's check it out. So x and x, and you're going to say 3 and 10. Okay, but now I need negative 30. So now, if I need negative 30, what am I going to do over here? So you're going to tell me, okay, so put a negative here and put a positive here. Now let's check. X times x, you have to come out a little bit there for me and go across so they can see. There. What's x times x? It gives me x squared. Okay, but let's check my middle term. Does it work out? What's 3x minus 10x? It doesn't. It gives you negative 7. And you say, okay, sir, I'll scratch this out. I'll make this a minus, and I'll make this a plus. It still doesn't work out. It was negative 3x plus 10x will give me positive 7x. So it doesn't get me to 13. Yes, it gets me to negative 30 if I multiply these two together, but I don't get my middle term. So 3 and 10 aren't the factors that get me there. So the only other factor you can use is 2 and 15. 2 and 15 get there. So I'm going to say open bracket, 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 x, and we said 2 and 15. Now, what am I going to do with my signs? I need it to be positive 13. So which one's going to be the positive here? It has to be the 15. And it has to be minus 2. Because what's 15 minus 2? It's 13. And if I times these together, does it get me to negative 30? So maybe here the penny will start slowly dropping over here. So these two factors, the 15 and the 2, how does it get me to 13? It must also times together to get me to the negative 30. So what's 15 minus 2? It's 13. And what's negative 2 times positive 15? Negative 30. Okay, it takes practice, ladies and gentlemen. It takes practice. So you have to practice. We might do 2 sessions of this. I'll see your responses. And then the last one. This one over here is a combination question. If you ever see a variable greater than 1, you know you have to pull out a highest common factor first. And then you'll be left with an original trinomial that you normally do. Can you see it was 2x squared plus 10x plus 8? So you never normally see this 2 over here. So you have to pull the highest 2 out. So pull out a highest common factor out of all of them. So you learned that in your first session, pulling out a highest common factor. 2 is common in all of them. And then I'm left with that. And then ask yourself again, what's the factors of 4 that can get me to 5? The factors of 4 that can get me to 5, I know it's 4 and 1. So x, and it's plus and plus, so the easy one is just plus and plus. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, if I can just recap quickly, your last term in your trinomial, your factors that multiply together, that can get me to my last term, and then when I add those or minus those, or manipulate it to get my middle term. You're going to probably have to watch this video again. It's factorization of trinomials. This will follow you, my math school kids. This will follow you all the way to matric. So please, you have to work on this stuff. It is difficult. It's not an easy section, but once you grasp it, you grasp it. So I might do 2 sessions. Please communicate with me on Teams. Let me know how you're doing. And if we need to do another whole session on it, we will do so. Thank you guys. Enjoy this one.